Your Best Life with Sean Akinloton. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. You are the real MVP. If this is your first time here, like you've never watched my videos before, you've never visited my channel before, I welcome you and I really appreciate you. Please subscribe and then also press there's a little notification bell right below this video. Press that. What that does is you will be the first to be notified each time I go live and you will never miss my video. Now, the elections are over, so let's get back to real business. You know, the Seun Akinloton platform is all about helping you to maximize your potential so that you can truly, truly live your best life. And your best life is personal to you. It doesn't have to be anyone else's standard. My own best life can be different from your own best life. The most important thing is that we are all fulfilled. So today when I was preparing, I was thinking of, okay, what can I talk about? I remember that there was a time when someone had approached me and asked me what she could do when she finds herself in a place whereby she's repeatedly passed over. So I'm like, okay, this is a really great topic I can talk about today. And I wanted to share some tips, or let me say, I wanted to share a concept that you can use or apply when you find yourself in a place where you are repeatedly passed over. It could be at your work, it could be in school, it could be anywhere, it could be at any organization, maybe you're volunteering, maybe you are a consultant or whatever it is. You will find out that there are some situations where you are being passed over, or if you notice you have certain situations where you are being passed over, like you have a particular thing you do, right? And people just don't look at your face, they go to someone else for that thing, and you're wondering, what am I doing wrong? Or you're wondering what you can do better. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the person that approached me, she works in an organization, right? And she was worried that each time our boss needed to do something, our boss would even go to employees that were lower in rank than she was, and she began to feel uncomfortable. So I told her, I said, have you heard about the SSD concept? And she was like, what's SSD concept? And I sat down to explain to her. So I'm going to go over that SSD concept. If you currently find yourself in a situation whereby you feel like you are being passed over, or it might be handy for you in the future, who knows? We don't know where you're going. We don't know what heights you're going to reach. The first thing that you want to do when you're repeatedly passed over is that you show up. What do I mean by show up? A lot of us, sometimes when we go to work, we basically do the minimum. So your work starts from 8 to 4 and you're just there 8 to 4. You don't want to do anything extra. Guess what? You might need to rethink that stance. You might need to rethink that stance for you not to be repeatedly passed over. I know that you might be watching now and saying, but maybe I spent extra 30 minutes or extra 1 hour. Do you know that we can be at the same workplace, right? And we are working the same 8 hours, and you can produce more results than I will produce. So showing up is not just about the amount of time that you are putting in, it's about the quality of work, or the quality of the value that you are bringing to the table. So when you're talking about showing up, what you need to ask yourself is, what can I do differently? How can I produce result at work in the shortest amount of time possible while also producing quality work? So I'm not talking just about quantity, like, oh, okay, let's say I needed to go through 1,000 pages of a project, right? It's not just about flipping through that project. It's about going through it in such a way that will make you stand out, like your boss or whoever is in charge would notice that yes, you're truly, truly showing up. That's the first part of the SSD concept. So the first part of the SSD concept is show up. The second part is skill up. And this is the part where a lot of us, we drop the ball. I know some people that ever since they graduated from college, they've never tried to improve themselves. Some people even blame their employers. They say, well, if my employer is not offering that course, if my employer is not sending me to a particular school, then I can't really dip my hands inside my pocket to bring out the money. You're getting things wrong. When you go to the workplace, whatever title or position you have in your workplace now, we have 1001 people or much more than that, or let me say 1,000,001 people that have that skill that you have in your workplace. So the marketplace is almost like a leveler. You can't say that, oh, I studied marketing, I'm the only marketer in town. No, it's very easy for your employer to fire you if they find someone else that studied marketing as well and has certain skills that you don't have. One of the problems that I have personally seen in a lot of people is that they are technologically challenged. I am technologically challenged as well, but what I have done for myself is that I am constantly learning. I'm constantly putting myself in environments whereby I can learn and pick up additional skills. And if I know that I'm working on a project that requires Microsoft Word, for example, what I do is I can say to myself, okay, instead of just using Microsoft Word to present this project to my supervisor or to my boss, I can say, let me use PowerPoint, let me put some images, let me put something catchy, because I know that my boss is always seeing Microsoft Word. That's what everyone sends to him when they are working on project. Then I can say, you know what, if I do a PowerPoint that is filled with really cute and nice images that helps me to drive home the point, then I can get their attention. It's hard for people to pass you over when they know that there's something about you that is just different from every other person. It's also called the winning edge strategy. The winning edge strategy is basically a strategy whereby you use to help yourself stand out when you find yourself in a room. When you find yourself in a room of professionals, let's say you are an engineer, for example, you all have bachelor's degree, you all have master's degree, right? So what makes you special? It's the skill that you bring to the table. You have to constantly renew your skills. You have to constantly pick up new skills that is related to your field so that it will become very, very hard for someone to look at you and pass you over. So I talked about showing up, I talked about skill up, and the third one is detail up. A lot of people are not detailed. They don't pay attention to details. So you finish up the work and all you do is to turn that work in. No, you need to look through your work again. You need to pay attention to details. This is something that is a little hard for me to explain because some people just don't get it. They don't get what it means to pay attention to details. So my own explanation for detailing up is when when you're working on a project, right? Or when you are working on anything that has been assigned to you, bring your total self into it. So you act like you forget everything around you and bring your total self. It's almost as if you are meditating, or you bring a level of focus such that you shut out every other thing to focus on that task, because when you focus, then you can pick up the minute things that other people would not see. And when you do that, when you produce work in such a way that the person that is reviewing that work goes, wow, you know, that is a good place to be. That is some great place to be, because it will be hard for that person to pass you over repeatedly. Now, when I describe this SSD concept, remember that I've not even shared anything about personality, charisma, or knowing how to work with people. If you can utilize this SSD concept, if you can adopt it and utilize it and bring it into your work, it will be very hard for people to pass you over. But then the icing on the cake is your attitude. What attitude are you bringing to the table? I know attitude may sound cliche. Oh, attitude is I go to work, I put on a big smile, you know. It's so much more than that. Your attitude when you are being criticized, how do you react? How do you take feedback? How do you apologize when you are wrong? All those things count. They sound very little, but when you add them up, people take notice. And guess what? If you do all those things, if you show up, scale up, detail up, and you even had a great attitude to it, and you still notice that people are repeatedly, remember I keep saying repeatedly, because sometimes no matter what you do, there will be situations whereby you are passed over. But if you notice that it's a pattern, if you notice that people are repeatedly passing you over, maybe for promotion, for work, for projects, then after you've tried your best, then the next thing you should do is to walk away. It's time to leave that environment. It's time to go to where you will be appreciated. And when you leave, you want to leave in an honorable manner. You don't want to burn bridges. You don't want to fight anyone. Because in life, at the end of the day, there's no permanent friend and there's no permanent enemy. All we have is permanent interest. So when you are about to close a door, make sure you're closing that door gently. Unless, because I don't want you to be in a situation whereby your mental health is in jeopardy, unless there's a threat to your life or to your license or whatever, that's when you should just close the door anyhow you feel like. But my recommendation is do not burn the door, do not burn the bridges. Live gently, live tactically. When you apply wisdom in everything you do, you will be able to adapt to any type of situation. And because you don't know the future, you don't know what the future holds for you. You want to make sure that you're treating everyone right. And if you can do all these things, I bet you it will be hard for people to repeatedly pass you over. And for my friend, yes, when she adopted all these strategies, she noticed a change and it's been great since then. Okay, so yes, that's it from me for today. And thank you so much for coming. I'm looking forward to having you again next time. But until then, be exceptional, be intentional, and be on point. Thank you.